Trigger warning.
This episode contains the biblical truth about the Tower of Babel. Hello and welcome to Really Bible, the show that challenges you to read that Bible. My name is Ben Esteville and I'm still searching that old book for some truth. And the truth is, sometimes we need help. Sometimes we have a moment of doubt, we are in crisis, and we need someone to give us a little helping hand. Have you ever needed help? Have you ever needed to call for help? Have you ever called technical support? Have you ever called a help desk? That's kind of why they're there, to help you. But it doesn't always go smoothly, you know? You get on the phone with someone and they say, "Hello, my name is Jim or Bill or whatever," and right there, you feel lied to. You feel deceived because that person's got a thick foreign accent from a country far, far away, and just right here, you feel that their real name has 37 consonants in it and there's no way you're ever going to pronounce it. But whatever. They have a foreign accent and it's really hard to understand them. It's hard for them to understand you, and that leads to frustration, and it makes you want to flip a table over. Language barriers are difficult to overcome and it can be frustrating. But who does the Bible tell us we have to blame for that? Well, true believers, you could thank God for that one. What am I babbling about? I'm babbling about that old Tower of Babel right there. This story starts in the book of Genesis, chapter 11, verses 1 through 9. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you totally should. The important part of the story is a group of people wanted to build a city and have a name for themselves, lest they be scattered abroad upon the whole face of the earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the sons of men had built. And the Lord said, "Behold, they are one people, and they have all one language. And this is only the beginning of what they will do, and nothing that they propose to do will now be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language, so that they may not understand one another's speech." So the Lord scattered them abroad from there over the face of all the earth, and they left off building the city. Really, Bible? That story sounds unbelievable. So I sent my field reporter JC out to get a perspective from a true believer.
You're familiar with the Tower of Babel. Of course, you know it's a very, very famous story.
The general principle of that passage is people rebelled against God's will, clearly revealed, and God scattered their languages.
Did God ever tell man not to ever try to get together and build something?
No, what he said, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth, and they directly disobeyed his command.
Do you think that eventually people would have gone ahead and filled the earth anyway? I mean, is there any way to really stop it?
They directly disobeyed his command. They were in rebellion, and they deserved what they got.
So you're saying that because they wanted to settle down, right? Because that's what they did. They wanted to have a settlement of their own.
They were filled with pride. They wanted to rebel against God.
So you think God was justified in changing all their languages from this one people who wanted to have the only city in the world that would have been filled with believers? God didn't want that.
Direct disobedience of God's revealed will that he's commanded to you directly is a terrible sin.
So what would have happened? Yeah. Let me ask you a quick question. Hypothetically.
Look, a lot of people these days are not in that position. They have general revelation of God's existence, but they haven't had the sort of the direct command to their heart.
Okay.
And those guys disobeyed.
Let me ask you a hypothetical. What if all those people would have gotten together, built a tower into the heavens?
See, that was another rebellion. They were trying to reach up to God and sort of make themselves God, reach up to heaven under their own power.
It doesn't really say they were trying to make themselves God. It was saying that they came together and God was worried that if they
That's the idea of a ziggurat. That's the idea of sort of us putting ourselves first and sort of displacing God from his throne.
Well, let me ask, I'm getting to my question. So if these people worked together and manifested a tower that reached into the heavens, what do you think the outcome would have been if God did not intercede?
I don't know what hypotheticals, but
okay. Well, let me give you.
I believe that God is just in all His workings among men, and so I don't fault God for His righteous judgments.
Okay. Were these people heathens, atheists, pagans, non-believers, or were these people believers in God?
Probably a distribution like there are now. I'm not an expert in the subject, so
yeah, I don't know. Hey, do you want to get going, man?
Yeah, we need to.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
Wow, JC, sounds like God is kind of a dick. Let's break this story down a bit more. First thing, who is this us God is talking to? Does he need special linguistic angels to help him get this mission accomplished? Really, Bible? The people, they just were tired of being nomads. They were like, oh God, we're using the logic, reason, and compassion you've given us to create a tower as a demonstration of our ability to cooperate and achieve something greater than ourselves. We have decided to settle and create the first great city founded on your glory, a people entirely dedicated to you, O Lord, a people who wish to stop wandering, to put down roots and create what will be the cradle of the greatest civilization in history. So great, it will stand for all time and be a testament to the power and the might of the one true God. But according to this story, God wasn't having it. God was like, what are these people doing? I hate cities. I just gave the world an enema and flushed all the cities into the sea, and these fools want to build more. How dare they be creative and work together, trying to develop permanent housing, a safe haven from the perils of the elements? What are they thinking? I don't have perfect foresight, and things went really bad. So to fix it, I flooded the entire earth, killing nearly everything on the planet. Now I have a fresh start, but instead of creating a sacred text detailing all of the expectations and tenets of the faith so all people can live in peace and dwell in my perfect wisdom for all time, no, I'm going to ruin everything by having them speak different languages, and eventually I will pick one of these scattered tribes to make war and destroy all the other ones, because that is what any kind and loving father would do for his children. I'm sure that's pretty much verbatim. Also, Christian apologists might claim that the people were arrogant and wanted to build a structure to be co-equal to God, or they wanted to intrude into God's heavenly domain. That is not what the Bible says. They are pulling that out of their ass. Do you think God is going to be threatened by a Stone Age tower? Really, Bible? God recently flooded the entire earth, and you think a pile of stacked stones is going to give him any grief? Really? Another fanciful spin is that these proud and arrogant people were trying to create a place where men would put themselves before God and claim power and authority. Well, if they were all true servants of God and built a utopian city, where's the harm in that? The world at this point was only populated by the faithful. Was a city of true believers really gonna ruin God's perfect plan for people to be wandering around for an indefinite amount of time, filling up the earth? Does this make any sense to you? Really? Also, the Bible would have you believe that wandering around the globe without proper structures to resist the elements and popping out as many kids as possible is the highest level of human achievement. No, don't bother building libraries or studying medicine or cultivating crops. Can you imagine a people destined to nomad status for untold generations until the earth was full of people? Got a question for you. Why didn't God just make more people if that's what he wanted? Okay, back to the story. Let's assume this tale is true, and if so, God is not pleased when people come together to build great things. It does not sit well with him because he is a jealous and wrathful God. Okay, so why has God not babbled languages to prevent the building of Machu Picchu or the Egyptian pyramids? These structures reach into the heavens, and God lets it slide without a care. One more example, the International Space Station. This thing is literally in the heavens, and guess what? They've never reported seeing God up there. God has never confused the languages of any astronauts. Also, the firmament was not shattered. And lastly, the astronauts have never reported seeing a flat Earth. It looks like God's plan to keep mankind from coming together and building great things is an utter failure. It even looks like God's plan was for people to roam the earth, never coming together to build anything of substance. Just look at these passages when you have time. I'm not saying the Bible is against building anything, but all these passages give you insight into the fact that biblical people were not encouraged to build structures. Currently, and especially in the Bible Belt, building places of worship is assumed to be mandatory for the faith. But what does the Bible say about that? Despite what your tithe-loving pastor or priest might tell you, there is no mandate to attend a church. You can if you want to, but this holy book never makes church attendance a mandatory requirement for the faith. Some people opt for a personal relationship with the Trinity and sleep in on Sundays. Armed with this knowledge, I can say every prosperity preacher who tells you they need more money for a bigger church or another jet is absolutely full of shit and taking advantage of gullible people and preying on your emotions for their own gain. God doesn't need mega churches or jets to fly preachers around the globe. In fact, man has invented the internet and television so people can get their fair share of Jesus in the comfort of their own homes on a screen of their choosing. No church needed. What's that, you say? What about the people in third world countries who don't have TV or the internet? How will they receive the word of God? Well, do you honestly think the ravings of a prosperity con artist are going to help these underserved people? Is the be fruitful and multiply wisdom of the Bible the best roadmap to prosperity in areas of overpopulation, famine, and economic uncertainty? Will your faith in Jesus and heartfelt prayers shield you from the AIDS epidemic? Will rejecting contraception and sexual education eliminate rampant disease? Will rejecting life-saving vaccinations bring you closer to God's will? Think about that. The book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 21, Jesus said to him, "If you would be perfect, go, sell what you possess and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven, and come, follow me." If you are in a third world country without possessions, begging, living like a nomad, maybe the prosperity preachers can learn something from you, as the Bible illustrates this is what Jesus wants. Well, what have we learned today? God's commandments are kind of nonsensical when you consider human beings have been coming together to form societies since before history. All right, that just doesn't make any sense. That's a weird-ass commandment. Also, the International Space Station, that's a thing. It's pretty badass. So you can clearly see when we come together, we can get stuff done, and we really need to do that. The world's problems will not solve themselves. There's not going to be any divine intervention. The angels aren't going to swoop down from heaven and help anybody with anything. That's not going to happen, man. You got to get real. We've got to help ourselves, and we can only do that when we come together. And that's a good thing. Now, you prosperity preachers, I'm calling you out. You're on some bullshit. You better read that Bible, because you're just up to the nonsense. Anyway, you may agree, you may disagree. Let me know. Hit me up in those comment sections. Tell me all about it. Please like, subscribe, share, and click that bell for more notifications. Thank you for watching Really Bible. It's a show that challenges you to read that Bible.